So the moment we have all been, that sounds weird to say, but something that we have
Kind of true
all
though.
something that we have all been, waiting at the edge of our seats to find out how it would turn out. We know that Jonathan Majors was, um, what was he? You do you have that? We know that
Uh,
Jonathan Majors was supposed to be sentenced this week for the conviction. I
he was
don't remember what
convicted
the
of misdemeanor assault.
exactly. He was convicted of misdemeanor assault, and so the sentencing kept getting pushed back, and finally it happened yesterday. And he received probation, and he's on probation. I don't know for how long, but he has to attend domestic violence counseling for a year.
Yep.
So no jail time. A lot of people speculated that he was going to get up to 5 years, I think, of jail time. And that is not the case here. He will be able to do his counseling and his probation, and that will be that. So, really interesting to me.
Yep. I mean, no need to really read the article anymore.
Oh, uh, sorry. I thought there was more in the article that.
I really know. It says he faced up to a year after being convicted of misdemeanor assault.
See, that was wrong.
And huh?
I said, see, I was wrong. I said 5.
Well, once convicted, a misdemeanor is a year or less. A felony is a year and a day or more.
Okay.
But yeah, it says no jail time. Sentenced to probation.
He's right by his side.
Megan Good was with him. Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Yep, they were hand in hand, as lovers do.
He must continue therapy. I heard what you said. I'll get to you in a second. The judge also awarded Jabari, that's the ex-girlfriend, a protection order that Majors has to pay $250 for. Who cares? Judge Gaffey rejected an 11th hour attempt to have the criminal charges against Majors dropped on April 1st. I saw a statement from Majors' lawyer.
I'm just thinking he could have used that $250 for his dry cleaning, because he need to iron his clothes.
That's his style, man. Stop
That's
hating.
not
Some
wrinkled is
people don't
not
iron.
style.
That's his. I'm telling you, he's gonna have a linen deal real soon. I'm telling you, watch.
Linen is the thing that wrinkles the most.
That's my point. So that's the deal. Don't worry. Watch. Remember, I called it. Anyway, it says here his lawyer said Majors is, quote, committed to growing as a person and will complete the court mandated programs, quote, with an open heart, even as he maintains his innocence and plans to appeal.
Okay.
She said he's lost his whole career.
Well, I wish
I
him luck.
believe it's a she, his lawyer. Let me just double check that.
I wish
With a
him luck.
name like Pryor, I'm pretty sure it is. No, man, I just want to see the person. Yeah, it's a woman. I was right. There you have it. Now I can take these off. So, yeah, man. What say you?
I wish him luck on his future endeavors.
We're not going to unpack this?
I mean, I don't know what there is to unpack. I don't. He was convicted of something. He was sentenced.
Yeah.
I don't know. This story has never made sense to me.
Okay.
Um, it's never made sense. Like, some of it, to me, to say what I deduced from everything that we've been told is counterproductive to where we are now.
Okay.
At this point, he has been convicted of something, he has been sentenced for it.
Okay.
So what I think, my opinion of his behavior, or my opinion of what type of man he may or may not be, is is irrelevant.
Okay.
I don't want to sit here on my soapbox and talk about, the nuance that happens when people are convicted of crimes, or when people are deemed innocent of crimes, because the law allows for certain parameters. The law does not consider nuance. It does. I shouldn't say that, right? It does, right? When you're sitting in a courtroom, it's the nuance that lawyers are trying to convince you with, right? But what I mean is that we can't. I'll say this, not about Jonathan Majors, but just about people being proven innocent or guilty. You could be proven. There are people in prison right now who didn't do the thing they were convicted of doing.
True.
And I'm sure adversely, there are people who never got convicted of crimes they actually committed.
Yes.
So the law is what it is. And, I don't, for me to sit here and continue to speculate about what may or may not happen is just, it would be in dispute of our legal system. And I'm not in a position to do it, nor do I think that I should. I think that would do this conversation a disservice. And that's why I'm saying I wish him luck. Like, whatever comes of his life now, I hope that this hasn't ruined his life. I hope that if they put him in counseling for a reason. So I hope that this does help to rehabilitate him, and whatever anger issues, or whatever issues he has with domestic violence. I hope that those things are realized and resolved.
All right. Do you think that this was too soft of a sentence?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you think
For what he did, then I guess no, because it's up to 1 year, right? It's not,
well,
doesn't
he got
have to
no
be.
jail time? It
He
could
got
have
no time,
it could have been prison up to a year. He
right?
got no jail time. He got okay, so no jail time, probation, and a year of counseling.
Yeah, I don't want to send anyone to jail, like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Does
there
this
are
count as
there are
reparations?
Well, there's also that, but there's certain cases, right? There's certain people who, like, deserve to be in prison, and, like, deserve to be put under the jail. I'm not saying that those people don't exist. I don't have a
Okay.
blind spot for them. Trust me, there are people who I've wished that's exactly where they go. With this was so confusing, and this was so emotionally taxing,
Okay.
because we had just started. Maybe that doesn't make sense to people, but we had just really, like, Jonathan Majors was on a high, and he was on a wave when this happened.
Yes.
So a lot of us were invested in him
Yes.
and his
Yes.
success.
Yes.
So that's what I mean when I say it's emotionally taxing. It has nothing to do with me. And I will go and I will sleep at night and I will not think about Jonathan Majors. But when we're talking about people who love film and love television, and we invest ourselves in some of the people who play these characters, like we did with Jonathan Majors, you don't know. Like, on one hand, you're like, gosh, I don't want this to be true, and I don't want his career to be over. But also, I understand the nuance of, hey, there were a lot of details of this case that didn't really make sense. There were also a bunch of women that came out and said they've had similar experiences with him. So for me, it's complicated because it's like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to say here. Like, it's fucked up to sit here and be like, oh, this black man should be in trouble for XYZ when I don't even really understand what happened. It's not clear to me. Even the video is super confusing. Of course, we all came up with our own assessments of what happened, our own interpretations of what happened, but we don't really know. And that's never been realized. And all you can do when you go to court is lay out the facts, lay out what happened, and then there's some decision that happens that we all have to reconcile and be okay with. So I don't know if this is the right sentence for him. A year of domestic violence counseling, does that stop you from manhandling women? Does that stop you from slapping them across the face? Like, I don't know. I don't know what happens. Like, I don't know if that's enough. Is a year of domestic violence counseling enough for you to not do something like that again? I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
I'm stumped when it comes to this.
Got it.
So
what about his acting? Do you think that, for example, now that this is a light sentence and a light verdict, as opposed to what it could have been, right? It could have been years and years of prison time.
Yeah.
I'm talking about from the initial court proceedings, not the verdict, right? Do you think that some of these projects that dropped him will pick him up? Do we think now he will be at least one of the Kangs in the, Avengers movie?
I don't know. And here's why.
Okay, talk about it.
Okay, so I think that he will be hired again. I don't think that he'll never have a job in Hollywood. But I think that certain brands will not touch him, at least for a long time. I understand that we always have complicated conversations about Disney because Disney has kept people on payroll and has hired people who we've been like, well, that person had this situation happen, or, but he is also a black man in America, and the cards just aren't dealt the same way. We know that. So I don't think I don't necessarily think he'll get the same types of jobs he used to get, or with the same companies that he used to get them.
Okay.
But I think there is room for him to rehabilitate himself, to rehabilitate his career, at least in some way, shape, or form. I don't think it'll ever be the same. It's kind of like we talk about with Chris Brown. He still had a career for however long, but it hasn't been the same career we thought he was going to have. So I kind of feel like that's what's going to happen with Jonathan Majors. I don't think that Jonathan Majors is going to be able to be as picky as he probably once was about the roles that he takes.
Okay.
I think he's probably going to have to allow a rebuilding of trust. And I think he also needs to be very careful about what he does moving forward. This should, if counseling doesn't rehab him, at the very least, let's hope that losing all that he lost was sobering to him, and that maybe stops him from doing things that maybe are unfavorable or could come out in the public that we all would have to look at him with a side eye. You don't want that to happen, because the more you continue to pile on these different instances and these different events, you continue to chip away at the trust that is already broken with the public.
Yeah, I agree. It will tarnish your brand like we have seen with Chris Brown. I agree with that. I gotta be honest. I still want to see him play Dennis Rodman.
I thought that would have been a really good role, but didn't they drop him already?
They dropped him, but I hope they pick him back up like a bouncing basketball. You feel what I'm saying? Just be like, "Now I got that. Let's go."
Maybe they
Like,
will. I mean, listen again. I'm not sitting here saying that he shouldn't work.
no,
And
I didn't think it came across like you did.
And I think it's even harder now, because what do you go back and do after listen, he wasn't convicted of a felony, he was convicted of a misdemeanor, but we don't know what that looks like when you go to apply for a job now, right? So
Right.
I just I don't want to see anybody like down bad and can't work or you know, but I don't know. I
I
just hope I
understand.
never hear anything like this about him again.
I hope that honestly I wouldn't appeal. I understand why he would want to, but I think let it just be. It's over. Do your counseling, do your probation, and keep it moving. Work on repairing your brand, your image,
Mm-hmm.
and your career. That would be my advice if I was a close friend. I would say, man, fuck that appeal. Focus on the other things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, keeping that fake relationship together, maybe. But
You don't think their relationship is real?
no, I've said that since day one.
I just, I don't know.
I think it's like when Michael Jackson was dating
Lisa Marie
what's
Presley?
yeah, come on, man.
I only ask that because I just feel like, why would you? I guess for a check you would. I don't know.
Hey,
I don't
hey.
know. Because she has an image too.
But what's her image?
Good girl, always been. I mean, she was married to right before she got with Jonathan Majors. She had just gotten a divorce from her pastor husband. Like,
Well, and maybe that's part of this, right? That there's
that
no
boy.
way you could be the victim. No, the opposite. That there's no way he could be this bad boy criminal because she only dates the good men. Good only dates good.
If, if only that were the truth. If only you actually believed what you just tried to
Maybe
sell.
that's part of the spin here. Like, maybe the publicist said, "Hey, Megan Good only dates good guys. Go get Megan Good to be your girlfriend for a couple months." That's all.
I mean, I think she's tried to like, because I think that started when she was young and she was still a child actor. So I think over time she has tried to, establish her womanhood, establish the fact that she's sassy and sexy and all of those things. I'm not saying she's not any of those things, but I do think that there is kind of this idea of her that is more leaning towards the good side than she's gonna get with the guy who beats women. It's so bizarre. It's such a bizarre thing, I think, for a lot of people to think
But
about.
that's what I'm saying. So that's part of the image of then he doesn't beat women because she would never be with him.
Right.
The
Right. No, you're
perfect
right.
sale. I think that's part of the sale. I think we see a breakup probably summertime. It's April,
You think
probably
so?
over the summer. Yeah, a lot of people break up over the summer. They don't make it into the fall. But this is not that kind of podcast. For more of that, tune into Dashing D's solo podcast, the Hardly Minding My Business podcast. However, I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he is able to bounce back. I hope he is able to take on other roles. Clearly, he was on a trajectory to be an A-list actor, B-list actor. I don't know if that's still possible. I
Mm-hmm.
know he had the acting chops to do so. We've seen him in different roles. I would like to continue to see him challenging himself as an actor and doing different types of roles. I would also like to see him continue in Hollywood in some capacity. In some capacity. Because I think he's a talented guy. I don't think he's going to have the same push from the powers that be that he was getting. Uh, at least not now. He needs a cooling off period, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was supposedly shit out of luck, and Hollywood was done with him. And then he did Iron Man, and look where he is today. He just won an Oscar for Best Supporting Role. So, things can change, but you have to put in the work for them to change, right? And so he should be careful with the women he surrounds himself with and what he does with those women, because whether you believe that he physically assaulted someone or not, we all saw him shove her into the car. And you can't just pick bitches up and shove them in a car. Sorry.
And
Can't just Can't just be like, get in there, bitch. Just can't do that. Sorry.
And every woman isn't lying.
But I'm not saying women are lying. I'm saying
No, 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 no. I'm
even
not. No,
if
no, 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 no.
I'm saying even if he
I'm
never did
adding.
hit a woman.
But I'm adding to what you're saying. I'm not saying you were saying otherwise. I'm adding to it, and I'm saying, and every woman isn't lying. Like it's just. I think there is an assumption that there's like this high percentage of women who lie about these things, and it's not nearly as high as people think it is.
Oh, I don't think that.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you think that. I'm just saying that there is, because surrounding this, it was, oh, this was a white woman who tried to put him in a position to, be arrested by the cops and to have all of this happen. There's
And
definitely
not let him be
narrative,
Malcolm.
right. There's definitely a narrative around this conversation that we didn't really get too much into, but there is a narrative around this conversation that, there's some dishonesty when it comes to women in these types of situations. So that's the reason I say that, because I
I
think
understand.
I think it also guides the narrative sometimes and the way that people look at it. And a lot of people were ready and very quick to jump to his defense. And I understand the urge to want to protect, especially someone you consider one of our own. But there's always two sides to a story. So,
3 sides, in the words of Joe Budden.
sure.
It's a great song. 3 sides to a story.
Mhm.
Anyway, no, what I'm saying is I'm not disputing that. I'm talking about moving forward.
Yeah.
I'm saying moving forward, even if you never hit a woman again
Mhm.
or never did, whatever you want to call it, you also can't just shove women in the cars
No, you
and
can't.
physically lift them and shove them in cars. So he has to
It's
be
not gonna work. Yep.
cognizant of who he's around,
Yeah.
his surroundings, and the positions he puts himself in, right? Because you could run away, and we saw you running away for blocks and blocks. It looked like you've still been keeping up with your boxing training and doing your road work. That looked awesome. But what didn't look awesome was us
Yeah.
seeing him lift her and shove her in the car. And so I'm saying that moving forward, you can't have more of those moments, i.e., the Chris Brown example, right? Like,
Mhm.
you can't keep doing things publicly that are going to cause problems. And today you can't do them privately either, because we've got phones and recording devices of audio and video and different measures. And so, listen, man, at this point, I think today
Mhm.
things are hard and things are going to be hard for a while, but I think he can still maneuver
Mhm.
and make strides. I don't know
Yeah.
if there's a cap. I don't know if he's going to be blackballed. We'll see how things play out. I hope not.
Right.
Um, but I hope that he continues to think about his brand, his career, his image, his reputation moving forward.
Well, as long as he's got Megan Good on his side, it's going in the right direction, right?
She's out of here. She's out of here. If I was making good, I'd be like, listen, as soon as my contract with this shit ends, I'm out. Because you know she had to sign some kind of NDA paperwork situation.
If I broke up with my pastor husband. Anyway, never mind. We don't need to talk about what I would do.
No. Tune into Hardly Minding My Business weekly, where Dash describes those types of things in detail.